Yo. Run it back, nation. What is good? It is your boy, DJ Eastwood, Greg Melly, and Philly Mike from the Philly Talk Podcast. I need like a round of applause sound effect, man. We're going to break down the game that we just watched, the 76ers versus the Phoenix Suns. The Sixers lose 114-109 to the Phoenix Suns down in South Philly. I guess the first thing I'm going to say about this game is that I thought this was the best opportunity to upset the number one team in the league coming off a back-to-back. They were just in Chicago last night. They looked tired for three quarters. I felt like we were in control of the game most of the game. In the back of my mind, I just kind of knew we weren't going to pull this off. It is what it is. But I thought it was probably the best opportunity to take advantage and pull off an upset against the Phoenix Suns, and we just couldn't pull it out. We shot ourselves in the foot several times. If somebody asked one of those did we lose or did they win type of questions, I would say we lost this game. We had chances, we shot ourselves in the foot. The one that stands out to me, the biggest turning point that really stands out to me is the fourth quarter where what happened? Tyrese Maxey shoots a three. No, Chris Paul flops on the screen. That's what I wanted to say. Chris Paul sets a screen on Matisse Thybulle, completely flops. You know what I mean? Give him the Golden Globe, Oscars, a Nobel Peace Prize, whatever else you want to give him. Phenomenal acting job by Chris Paul. He gets to the free throw line, and he misses one, and we give up an offensive rebound on a free throw. That was like I almost just turned the TV off because that's like there's never any explanation to give up an offensive rebound on a free throw. And so there's a 4-point play that should have been nothing. And Maxey misses a three on the other end. And they just launch the ball down the court, and Devin Booker's behind everyone in transition and gets an and one. So there's 7 points right there in a close game because we got beat on the boards and then we got beat in transition. And it's the lack of athleticism once again. A team full of athletes like the Phoenix Suns are going to destroy you in transition, and that's what they did. So those were my biggest turning points in the game. I thought Tobias Harris had an amazing game. I love what I'm seeing from him lately. Keep up in your trade value, Tobias. Keep it going. I thought Embiid did everything he could down the stretch. He had some big mistakes. He took a horrible fadeaway 38-footer with like 15 seconds on the shot clock. No idea why he shot that. And then he stole the ball from Chris Paul and threw it out of bounds. So I'm not going to sit up here and be pissed off about it. We fought hard against a good Suns team. I don't think we have a supporting cast around Joel Embiid to even be in a game against a team like this. They were on a back-to-back. I thought we had a chance to take advantage. We shot ourselves in the foot a couple times. It is what it is. I'll pass it off to you, Greg. What you think, man?
It's interesting. Phoenix is coming off a back-to-back, and they came out really flat in the second half. Beginning of the third quarter, we dominated, took a big lead. And then, of course, the worst player on the Philadelphia 76ers, Doc Rivers, had to come in and just – bro, I swear to God, I'm on your stream daily talking about the same problems every single time with this man. He runs his 5 bench unit way too often, especially – with the way Tobias was playing tonight, we needed Maxey. If any time is the time to play Maxey staggered minutes, we didn't see a single minute staggered with him and Embiid. It's crazy how he's going away from everything that works. Look, I love Seth Curry. Love that man to death. Let's not all kill this man because he had an off night shooting. That's the life of a shooter. His brother has a lot of similar nights, but he obviously did not help the cause tonight. He had a really rough night, but he did hit a big three in that late fourth quarter. So he came up when we needed him. I'm not an anti-Seth guy, but geez, he has been abysmal lately. Absolutely abysmal. I liked Matisse Thybulle's defense a lot on Devin Booker. Chris Paul missed a lot of easy shots. That game could have been way worse than it was tonight. I think we got lucky with the amount of shots that the Suns missed that were wide open. We're not winning games when Seth Curry's going 1 of 9 from the field and Danny Green is still on the team. So that's what I got.
Can't disagree with you. What's up, Mike? Oh, I still got you muted. Hold on, Mike. My bad. I'm terrible at running the show, man. There you go. I
The
do that
Suns
to everybody. Every time I do that to everybody.
the Suns only shot 23% from the 3-point line, and that's why we kind of hung around, because we turned the ball over way too much, just sloppy turnovers in the first half, throughout the whole game pretty much. But I will say that you got to stagger. You can't have the all bench. The all bench lineup did something good in the first half when Niang and these guys were just knocking down threes, and it gave us that 14-point lead, the largest one that you just knew the Suns will settle in. But you got to get Maxey, a guy who wants to penetrate the basket as well. That's where he gets most of his points. He can pull up mid-range and floaters, and he'll hit some threes, but he gets his buckets in the lane as well. So you definitely got to stagger that. The only time he ever staggers and puts a starter in with the bench is Tobias. And Tobias is a guy who needs someone to create for him, not create for others. So that's the wrong guy to be in the all-bench lineup. But when you look at, as DJ said, I don't even think it was a offensive rebound on a foul. I think Tobias came down with it and Crowder stole it. He just stole it. He just took it right from his hands. That was the one thing I got mad at Tobias for. But look, Danny Green made some threes in this game, but he slows down the game so much. There were so many times where he was the second man in a pass that you had somebody open in the corner, whether it was Niang, whether it was Maxey, and he's just so slow to get it to him, and he slows it down. The ball movement was only crisp in that second quarter, where Tobias went off with 13. We're doing there's not much we can do with the guys we have, especially when Curry's not shooting. And it's been a couple games, right? The Grizzlies game, he was like 0 for 8 before he took off in late fourth and overtime. He just got to be a little bit more consistent. When his shot's not going, he doesn't have the total ability to get another shot, right? He's a bench player all his career until he came to the Sixers, and Embiid allows him to be a starter. That's mainly what it is. He's grown as a player because he can put the ball on the floor now better than he's done in the past, but it's still not at the level we need a guard to do to create for others. And it's still like the Embiid or bust, or Embiid gets double and other guys find their shot.
Yeah, I think the staggering lineups thing is always going to blow my mind. My mom was texting me, and she's in the chat, by the way. Everybody say hi to my mom. She was texting me, and I told her, I was like, wait for the bench. We were up by 14. She texted me and said 14 with exclamation points. And I said, wait for the bench. No lead is safe with this team. Just wait for the bench. And when I saw the all bench lineup in there in the end of the third quarter, it's so predictable. It's the same thing every single game. He runs literally the same players at the same time and brings the players back at the same time every single game. It's so easy to predict. And I said, wait for the bench. And then I told her, now watch, he's going to hold Embiid and Maxey out until 7 minutes left. He actually shocked me by pulling an emergency substitution when he put Maxey in with 9 minutes left because he realized what was going on. I know, right? He couldn't play the whole fourth quarter. What did Maxey have minutes-wise? 34 minutes. Once again, I don't care if I say it every show. The kid's 21 years old. You don't have another point guard. He can play more than 34 minutes. Why are you holding him out like he's a 35-year-old veteran?
Yeah.
And he brings him back. Tyrese does a couple things, is aggressive, tries to do whatever he can to help us out. And then Joel Embiid comes in, tries to do whatever he can to help us out. But yeah, the staggering lineups thing, really drives me insane, because why is there never a section of the game where you see Tyrese Maxey out there with the bench lineup where he would be the featured scorer? Like, why is that never a thing? Why is he tied to Joel Embiid to run like those two together 24/7? And in spurts of the game when they went on runs, it was the same story. It always is. We're standing around the perimeter. We're getting Tobias Harris ISOs, and Tobias had a great game. But I just think, like, when you need a bucket, why is there not a ball screen? Why don't we run a single Tyrese Maxey ball screen and try to make something happen? But at the end of the day, I really think they shot 20% from three, like you said. I think we fought hard. I'm not mad about it, but there's definitely reasons we lost. We did it to ourselves. Doc Rivers did it to us. And then the mistakes at the end of the game did it to us. And the Suns' acting job was pretty damn good. The referees were horrendous. The foul on Matisse on Devin Booker's jump shot.
Trash.
And then a review, and he didn't touch him at all. I don't understand how that stands. And then the Chris Paul flop on the screen was just crazy. So, yeah, that's where I'm at with it.
Yeah, they got all their.
Swipe up. See how many rebounds Jay Crowder had tonight.
I feel like 40. Hold on.
He was all over the place. Yeah. And they mainly score from the free throw line. That's how they got all their points in the fourth quarter. We sent them to this charity strike way too much because we were in the bonus too much.
My thing is, look at Jay Crowder's night. That dude didn't make a shot, and yet he was one of the most productive players on the team. Dude had 14 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, a block, probably the game-changing, momentum-changing steal on Tobias Harris. He's a dog. What did the Sixers not have? You know?
Dog, yep.
The Sixers don't have a dog. Like, the Suns are the best team in the NBA because they are uber athletic. They have the greatest IQ'd point guard I've ever seen in my entire life, arguably the best to ever do it. The way Chris Paul just manipulates the game to go the way that he wants to he's a wizard. His interview on JJ Redick's podcast last week was exactly that, how he manipulates the game. I thought his technical foul was brilliant. I think everything that man does is brilliant on the court. Jay Crowder just killed us. The dude had so many rebounds, and dude didn't make a shot. And we still lost the game because the athleticism that Phoenix has. JaVale McGee destroyed us, like sincerely destroyed us. The dude put up a double-double off the bench.
McGee.
Every time I see that man put up a one-handed hook shot at the free throw line, I'm like, nice, awesome. And it goes in. And I'm like, whatever. The dude rebounds his ass off. The whole team is just active, constantly active. And obviously Mikal Bridges just continues to kill the Sixers every time he comes into Philadelphia. It's a difference between coaching because Monty Williams changed the momentum of that third quarter. He put in the guys, but it's also the encore coaching that Chris Paul has that the Sixers just don't have from a guard. And that's not really Maxey's fault. He's like 13 years old, but we need some type of veteran leadership where the dude doesn't have concrete in his feet like Danny Green. If Danny Green's the team's best leader, we're never going to win anything. We need to go out and get a point guard, a backup point guard who can run the second unit the way that it needs to be run. A guy who can just stop an opposing run. A guy who can just be like, all right, like let me go out and get a shot. And something like Embiid's turnover at the end of the game, that's not on Embiid. That was 100% on Seth Curry because he wasn't even looking to get the ball until the ball's over his head. You know who would never let that happen? James Harden.
He would have been right next to him. He would have been right next to him at that
in
rebound.
his pocket, being like, hey, I'm right here. Can you give me the ball? Can you give me the ball? But this is like this game is a game we don't lose if we have another guy. And Harden is the perfect example of what we needed tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Like Mikal Bridges starts out the game hot. He had 10 points in the first quarter. He was on a revenge tour. Oh my God, the guy is just such a perfect 3-and-D player. At the time we drafted him, he was the perfect player. He was the exact player we needed out of Villanova from Philly. His mom works for the damn team. You couldn't have written the thing any better. Brett Brown, who part of me is still convinced is a hitman, an inside job, was paid by somebody in Boston to take down the Sixers franchise. There's just no way. There's no way. I know I'm going way out of left field right here. There's no way Brett Brown has a Boston accent and took down the Sixers organization the way that he did and doesn't work for the Celtics. That's where I'm at with that. So,
what about Doc Rivers, top 15 coach of all time, guys? How lucky are we? How lucky are we to have a top 15
ESPN
coach?
puts out their top 15 coach list, and Doc Rivers is on there. Wow, he won 1 championship with 4 Hall of Famers on the squad, got fired in L.A., because he does exactly what you saw him do tonight, makes no adjustments, does the same thing every single game, runs the same substitutions, does not give young guys any burn at all. I mean, Seth Curry was 0 for 9, and he trots him back out there in the fourth quarter instead of trying something else. And he hit a big 3, too, in the corner, and I was tweeting, shooters shoot, and shout out to Seth Curry. I love the guy, but I don't know. There's not much on the squad. There's not much on the squad. You got to throw
Seth back out there. Who are you going to put out instead of Seth Curry?
Yeah, I mean,
no, but Furkan don't need to be out there. I mean,
Furkan, bro, send Furkan
need to be out there
to any other team in the NBA. I refuse to watch that man play basketball. And as much as we constantly beg Isaiah Joe minutes, you can't put Isaiah Joe cold in a game with 4 minutes left that we're tied against the best team in the NBA. It's got to be Seth.
No, you're not wrong. I would have played Joe more.
Yeah.
The beginning of the game. I would have played Joe more the whole
Early.
game. But
Dude, I
go
would
ahead,
be
Mike.
playing every single minute Danny Green gets. I'd give to Isaiah Joe.
Yeah. Exactly.
And yeah, you got Furkan got what if I know Danny Green had 17 minutes, I thought I saw.
Yeah, he had one bucket. He had one
Yeah.
three. And he doesn't even shoot anything other than a three. What kind of production is that? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? What
And there
is
was
that?
multiple times that he definitely slowed down the ball movement when it was crisp. But the one thing that really stood out to me in this game, and it happens all the time, right? So we know we always get out rebound, but we always allow double-digit offensive rebounds. And that's the biggest problem, is because them easy second chance points. I think they were like 14 to 16 points and second chance points. And on the opposite end, there's too many times, whether it's the play being ran or just positioning, and no one else can really create by themselves except for Maxey's drive, that Embiid gets the ball with 5 seconds on the shot clock multiple times a game. Multiple times he gets the ball around the 3-point line with 5 or 4 seconds. He can't, I mean, you're just asking for a bump possession unless he creates something worldly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and apparently, well, I'll go to the tweet actually because
Shoot.
yeah,
All right, Mo Bamba.
Doc Rivers said something in the post game about it.
Uh-oh, DJ. Oh, I got the butterflies. Uh-oh. I might need to take a walk right now.
Rivers indicated pretty strongly post game that another guard, a point guard specifically, is something it looks like they need. Hope they might be able to grab before the deadline.
Oh, shit. Yeah, Doc. That's the first time I ever agree with anything that man's ever said.
My first response to this is that I can't believe I've been saying this about the Sixers for 10 straight years. Why every single season do we not have any guards on the team? I was screaming, "Where are the guards?" way back when I first started YouTube. The OGs in the chat might remember the "Where are the guards" rants when we had 3 power forwards on the floor, 2 centers, 2 forwards, and Josh Richardson. I couldn't believe what I was watching. There was no ball handling guards at all, and we're 2 years after that. We're 6 years into the process, and our only penetrating ball handling guard is a 21-year-old second-year player because Daryl Morey drafted him.
But look how many came and gone, right? Lou, Holiday. So we we did get some guards. You just, why keep them when we can get the big guys?
My thing is like, why get them? Like, if we get the big guys, we don't even have any big men. Bro, we got out rebounded because we have zero athleticism. Like, I love Niang, but he is such an awkward player to have because he's a very particular rotational player where if you're going to go for stretch or a small 5, then you put him at the 4 and then run a more athletic Paul Reed, better version of Paul Reed at the 5. But bro, I love Andre Drummond. I love the minutes he gave us tonight, but he cannot move. He can't jump. Like, we just got out rebounded because we have absolutely no backup rebounding. We have no athleticism off the bench. Dude, it's disgusting. It is literally disgusting. What's going on?
Drummond is our best rebounder because that's the one. I mean, Embiid what? Now he's tied with Giannis. We're 17, 30, and 10 pluses this year. So shout out to him. But there's times where, I mean, look, he's playing the most games he's ever played. He's running the offense more than he's ever done. He's running the full court press, pushing the ball with pace more than he ever done. So it's tough for him to get rebounds. But you do see this team just lack the awareness and the athleticism to just box out, right? Like, there's just so many low-key rebounds that they get that they just get bunnies off of. Right. And it definitely pays. We pay for it.
My thing is, like, Drummond is without a doubt our best rebounder, and exactly what you said, because Embiid's doing everything else. I love Drummond. I love what he does. He is incredible at what he does. But my point is, he is the only one on that bench unit that can rebound the basketball at all. We have no athletic 4. I mean, we run Niang as our primary backup 4, and I love Niang. But again, he is not athletic enough to be able to play against the Suns team and then us expect to not give up second chance points at a ridiculous pace. It's not Drummond. It's the surrounding cast that he has to deal with for 8 minutes, like, consecutively. Like, it's not even that. Like, it can work if we run it in a 4-minute spurt, change up the pace a little bit. But then the fact that Doc lets these 5 bench guys run out for like 8 minutes when we have a 14-point lead, bro, no wonder we're down by 1 now. Like, it's just like,
Yeah, that's the thing. When he puts that lineup out there, man, he lets them hang out there. And the lack of staggering is one thing, but you watch the other side of the floor. You watch the other team's coach. He had Devin Booker out there with the bench lineup, and then he brought Chris Paul and Bridges back in and put Booker back on the bench. And it's creative lineups. It's staggering the floor so you constantly have one of your best players on the floor to attack. And all while all of those staggering things were happening with Monty Williams, Doc Rivers had the same 5 guys out there, the same Furkan, Niang, Matisse. I mean, just not really any creators, anybody on the floor. And that's every game now. I feel like I can predict it. The end of the third quarter, we're going to get smoked. I want to look at the advanced stats with us at the end of a third quarter because we're probably dead last in the NBA.
We're also just bad at home for some reason this year. Like, we don't win home games like we used to. It used to be the exact opposite with the notorious Brett Brown. We used to never be able to win outside of our arena. Now, kind of flipped. Not sure why, maybe the black cloud that's just around us at the Wells Fargo Center, being 2-5. But like Doc Rivers knowing we need a guard, he knew that as well as everybody else did. He's just finally saying it. But I don't want him to bring in look, we could use a bench piece, but it got to be Harden or bust at this point. You don't allow, I think DJ said it. I popped into your stream too while I was at work. Like, you can't allow all these guys to just go off the board days before and then not do nothing when you see like a CJ McCollum is something we need, right? He's a lower tier James Harden, but gets better with Embiid. If Curry turned into a starter with Embiid, right? He's Curry, but he can put the ball on the floor. Where Curry, if that pump fake don't work, like, have you ever seen Curry create his own shot without the pump fake? It starts with the pump fake and then goes somewhere else. And I'm a big Curry guy. Fake. I'm a big Curry guy too. But CJ McCollum as a ball player, right, can create. Curry we're screaming Curry's when he's catching the ball, knocking him down. Or again, he pump fakes, gets a guy to jump because of the 3 is deadly, and then he gets that long 2 or a floater. But that doesn't happen that often.
I'm not a CJ fan. I agree 100% with your point. CJ is a massive upgrade over Seth, but talk about availability. CJ is way worse than Harden. I just don't think CJ is the guy. I don't. Defensively, he's equally as bad as Harden. I like CJ McCollum, but like, look at what they got for him. Like, there's a reason we didn't do that deal. Like, bro, I'm all on board on Morey waiting, even if it means the offseason. Like, yeah, that shit's gonna sting because we want to win right now. But CJ McCollum would have never been the answer.
I think I don't think you would choose CJ McCollum over James Harden. I don't think anybody would, but I think with that deal going by, it's like that backup plan is gone. You know what I mean? And then you see the Kings deal happen and you're like, okay, the other backup plan is gone. And it's like, Daryl better have something up his sleeve here if he's not making any moves at all. Like, if, I don't know, if Portland was trying to clean house and dump salaries and things, maybe you could have stole CJ from him somehow and still have Ben sitting at his house, and deal him in the offseason. There could have been, some creative things that happened if he knew that he wasn't getting James Harden, which I think he knows.
Yeah, let me just say this real quick. I believe look, if we don't get Harden in 2 days, which, will definitely put a damper on the mood, I believe he's going to be a Sixer starting 2022-2023 season, regardless, for the simple fact that, yes, they can sign and trade, but James Harden has a player option. So there's so many things that can happen where he just legitly walks and the Sixers just got to free up a spot. And that's where you can just say, at this point, you're like, what bad team wants Simmons contract, right? There's been a lot of teams inquire about Simmons. We're just being too picky. Well, if James Harden is going to come to us for us signing him, we need to clear Ben Simmons' money, maybe even do something with Tobias Harris. But there's many ways that Daryl Morey, being a cap wizard, that he could do it. So I see it happening regardless, just that. And that's what I think the Nets are trying to say. Like, the Nets are trying to say, let's try to run it with Harden, right? This could be the only reason why he doesn't get traded to us. Because they're like, we're going to run it with Harden. if we fail, we fail. And then they'll try to use the Ben Simmons thing as the last second resort for a sign and trade just to make sure Harden doesn't go nowhere. But I still do think Harden, if free, the first destination is Philly. Like, he's already been making it public. And you could do things with even getting Harris off the team next year by stretching his contract out and eating it on 2 or 3 different seasons. And you have the spot to just say, Ben Simmons, go play with the Magic. We got picks and maybe some role players, Terrence Ross or something along them lines, role players. And then we signed James Harden. So essentially, it's like we traded Simmons for Harden, but we didn't.
Exactly. And I think with the reports that I read this morning, that there's a lot of talk between multiple teams when it comes to Tobias Harris too. Like, it's going to be a 3-team deal.
I was going to say that.
I believe that Morey, I honestly think that his main priority right now is to scour the market for Tobias Harris, because I think exactly what you said, Mike, was I think the whole city's sold on Harden being a part of this team, whether it's going to be in 2 days or next year. And I think in a perfect world, we trade Tobias Harris and we free up cap space. And then regardless of what that is, maybe we get Harden in 2 days, or exactly what you said, you can hold on to Simmons for the offseason. You free up the cap space with Tobias Harris on 2 expiring deals. You'll have money left over. We can even amplify the bench a little bit, and immediately the Sixers become not only a contender, but arguably the number 1 contender in the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, if like the rumors that came out, first of all, I don't know what's going on with random verified people on Twitter. Like I've never seen anything like this before. It doesn't make any sense. Who
what's his name? People? Caleb? Was it Caleb something? I'm a Caleb stan.
Kalen Mack.
Kalen, my guy.
Kalen Mack. And then there was another guy that's like a professional wrestling commentator or something.
He met Harden at a strip club.
Had to have. Here's Kalen Mack. I heard a rumor from an internal reliable source that the Philadelphia 76ers are acquiring James Harden in a trade with the Brooklyn Nets. And I don't understand. I click on his name and it just says my tweets are my own. But why does he have a verified check mark? What is he? Who are you? What
I love when if you have to say that your source is reliable, it's probably not reliable.
But let's be honest, if this happens, that 8,000 followers turn to 58,000 followers.
If this happens, I'll name my kid Kalen Mack.
I will too. I will search him out so I can give him a hug in person if this happens. Because not just the James Harden coming to Philly, but Ben Simmons, Danny Green, and a 2020 first round pick.
I said that to you last time. I said that Kevin O'Connor. That's a Kevin O'Connor KOC thing. KOC said the deal is going to look more like Ben Simmons, Danny Green, and a pick or 2.
That's crazy.
Sign me up.
So if you add James Harden to this team and you get to keep Tyrese Maxey, you get to keep Matisse Thybulle, and if it is like there was other ones that hinted at like a 4-team trade and Tobias Harris ends up somewhere else, and that would be just the ultimate, like, to clear that cap space. Keep Matisse Thybulle, keep Tyrese Maxey, and add James Harden to your team. That's unbelievable. That would be unbelievable. That's not realistic. There's no way that's realistic.
Like, I'm not.
That doesn't happen to Philly, at least.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Like Thybulle is not untouchable, but if we can keep him, that would be huge, because his impact on this team, even though Doc plays him for like 17 minutes, it's insane. He's the only guy on the team that I trust guarding another person on the perimeter.
Yeah, he was unbelievable tonight, and he hit two threes also, which, like, I've been ripping the guy for 2 days now because people don't want to give him up in a James Harden trade, and I don't want to rip the guy. I love Matisse Thybulle, but I'm being realistic here. Like, in the Mavs game, he wasn't on the floor in the fourth quarter because they were running a zone and you needed shooting, and he couldn't give it to you. But he comes out in this game. That's what happens to me is when I talk trash on a player, he comes out and plays well. When I talk good about somebody, he comes out and flops. But he came out and hit 2 threes, and he looked confident. The one was a buzzer beater at the end of the first half, I think, right?
First quarter.
End of the first quarter, yeah. And his follow through looked good. He like stood there and watched it like he knew it was going in. Like he looked like a confident shooter. And I was like, wait a minute. Everybody's telling me, hey, just wait, this guy's going to develop. And then I see flashes like that, and I'm like, what if he does? Like, what if he really does?
He's Mikal Bridges on steroids. Not offensively, though. But My thing is like a lot of people come in the chat and say this and that, but at the end of the day, the NBA is a business. You cannot hold on to people if you want to win. You know, like you want to keep all your friends on the team, but you have to go out and win. If you guys, I'm sure you did, listen to Embiid's interview on Mike Missinelli a couple days ago. He said if the Sixers had an offer right now of Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and like 10 first-round picks for Joel Embiid, would the Sixers do it? He's like, of course they would do it. He's like, I'm not stupid. It's a business. It's a business. Everybody can be untouchable to a degree. And Matisse Thybulle's degree is James Harden. It's not a knock against Matisse Thybulle. It's kudos to how good James Harden is. And a lot of people, a lot of fans need to understand that.
Yeah, because it's a lot easier. I mean, it's not going to be easy for him to develop offensively. I mean, he's athletic. You can see him when he you see the games where he gets to the basket and he's floating in the air, reverses, slamming. You know what I mean? You can see the athleticism there, right? He's just a little shy when it comes to putting the ball on the floor. I still believe he puts the ball on the floor and gets to the basket better than of course, every time Danny Green dribbles more than 6 times, I'm like, whoa, call timeout, waste one. I don't care. But at the end of the day, teams do leave him open and he's not shooting that good from 3, but that is something he can work on. But see, Maxey's upside is just right there in front of you, smacking you in the face. And so that's why he's the only one on this roster that is really untouchable because of you got to maintain a future. But I said the same thing. Thybulle is somebody that if we could keep him, we can keep him. But look, great defense against Booker. He's still at 35, right? You're not going to win in 20. If in the 90s, you could win with solid defense, right? You really could, right? Mm-hmm. If you were a little bit faster and just play defense, you would be able to make an NBA roster and be considered a great role player because it was physical and tiring. It's not so much that. It's finesse. They call fouls for everything. Even Matisse Thybulle my man breathed on Booker, and he's shooting free throws in the fourth quarter. That cost us. So in 2022, we were one of the best defensive teams last year. We lost to a poor defensive team who just got buckets. And so great offense is always going to be good defense. You just need that team that can play solid team defense and come up clutch. Defense really matters in the fourth quarter because if he gets a bucket in the first, you go get a bucket in the first. Now you need them crucial stops in the fourth. And that's what the Nets were banking on. But see, that's the difference between the Nets. The Nets don't got interior defense and perimeter defense. We still got Joel Embiid as the anchor.
That's why we can hide Harden way better than Brooklyn ever could.
Facts.
Claxton's a good ball player. I like his upside. I think he's good at what he does, but to even compare his ability to Joel Embiid, I would stop doing YouTube if I ever did that.
Yeah, the speaking of the Nets,
bro, what's the score?
They lost 126-91, but they were down. They were down 14-0.
Bro, it was 28-2. It was 28-2.
28-2.
Yeah.
I was live during the Sixers game, and just mad people were just talking about the Nets game. Like we were winning at that time. We I think we were right around the 14-point lead, and I'm over here like, what is everybody talking about? 28-2. I'm like 28-2, and they're like, that's the Nets getting beat by Boston. I said, dang, you just don't see that score.
Bro, Javon Carter had just as many points as the starters did combined.
Yeah, exactly.
Bro, Patty Mills had a negative 47.
I said when they first traded their whole supporting cast to sign a third guy, we talked about it yesterday or the day before, to add Harden to guys that are already ball dominant scorers. They traded their entire team to get Harden and their entire future to get Harden. It's absolutely crazy what they did, but now you have all 3 of those guys. One's out because he doesn't have a vaccine. One's injured, and the other one, I guess James Harden is injured. They keep saying or whatever. He looked healthy. They said he looked good at shoot around earlier today, and then all of a sudden, 11:30 a.m. it's announced that he's out of the game. So we were like, oh, it's going down. But anyway, without those 3, this is what they have. This is what they have. I mean, like Blake Griffin and Bembry led the starters, like tied the leading the starters. Like
who the hell is K. Edwards? Who the hell is K. Edwards?
I mean, wow. But again, like
Zagorowski? Bro, they're just making dudes up. They are. I swear to God, they're making dudes up and putting them in the NBA.
G. Williams, Fernando. Yeah, they're just making guys up. But when they have all three of those guys healthy, yeah. But that was the whole thing. I was like, these are two of them are 33 years old with nagging injuries, and the other one's cancer Kyrie, and he's going to implode the team somehow, some way, and he did it.
I love it. Oh shit, Kessler Edwards, you guys are right. That's my bad. Right, who's the Jagowski guy? So yeah, somebody come in the chat and tell me who Jagowski is without googling that dude's name, please.
That's crazy.
How did we allow JaVale McGee to have 15 points and 12 rebounds?
Yo, so I'm watching the Suns broadcast. He's averaging 9 and 8 on the year in 15 minutes. He's like the second dude in NBA history to do that.
Yo, he does get ever since he went to the Warriors, he got better. Like I used to play a lot of FanDuel and stuff, right? And whenever he would get like more than like 18 minutes, he'd be so cheap. He's a stat stuffer, but right there is the reason he got 15 points, 7 offensive rebounds, and probably 5 of them were putback, or 4 of them were putback. That's 8 points right there.
Yeah, the fact that the NBA's second leading 3-point percentage, Cam Johnson, went 1 of 7 from 3, and we still lost that game. Wow.
Yeah. Cam Johnson had a big block on somebody down there in the crunch time too.
Niang can't jump.
Yeah, Niang. Niang is stuck in quicksand when he tries to jump, man.
The Suns broadcasters were like just calling him a YMCA player the whole night. They were just like, yeah, that guy's like, that's a YMCA move. Yeah, I saw that dude at the Y.
He blocked Booker though. He got up a little bit.
He did.
Got up a little bit
on the jump shot. Yeah,
he was mad on that.
He was hyped. He was like, "I'm getting mine back."
No, that's a good analysis. I know they're trolling by calling him a YMCA player, but it's a good analysis. He plays like an old guy at the YMCA, man. Like he's gonna old school move you with the spin move, pivot foot, like up and under, like slower than everybody. And you're like, how the hell does he keep scoring on me? The
and
guy's
then
50 years old at the
right
YMCA.
In your face. And then he will talk shit directly at you. You're like, all right, bro, you're 48. You used to play college D2 ball. It's not that serious, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Doc Rivers shoots us in the foot at the end of the third quarter. We shoot ourselves in the foot at the end of the game. I knew this team was too good for us. I just thought we could attack them on a back-to-back, and they looked sloppy for 3 quarters, but they got it together pretty quickly, man.
It's Coach of the Year, Monty Williams. Former Sixers assistant. God damn it.
Yep.
Another one.
Brett Brown's assistant coach, Monty Williams, just outcoached Doc Rivers in an NBA game. And we don't, we let him walk so we could extend Brett Brown, and then we end up with Doc Rivers.
We really scored 25 in every quarter but the second. Like, just consistently not that good.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Lord.
Yeah, that's when we were up 14 in the second quarter. And then I was like, wait for the bench. Here they come, man.
That end of that third quarter was disgusting. Terrible. Yo, at least we're not the Kings, though, right, guys?
At least we're not the Kings. Man. The Kings, wow. Kings fans are irate right now. Kings fans are probably going to protest outside the arena.
Send them to Seattle. Send that team to Seattle. Let them start over. Bro, traded. Not only did they trade Halliburton, but they traded for a dude who can't even play for their team because he's unvaccinated.
Yeah, Justin Holiday.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
Yo, it's crazy because there's an Eagle content creator who lives in California. He's like, I worked with him once or twice, and he's in my chat saying, "Let's go Sixers." And I know he's a Kings fan. He said, "I quit." He said, "I already like the Eagles, so I might as well like the Sixers. I quit on the Kings after the Halliburton trade."
Bro,
that's crazy. Because the Kings, and you can't even really argue that De'Aaron Fox is definitely better than Halliburton. You know what I mean? And like at first I was like, oh, they got Sabonis. Sabonis is a dog. I love Sabonis, but I'm like, wait a minute. Halliburton's 21 years old, and you trade somebody that has a future like that for what?
Tyrese is the best player on that team, bro. He just dropped 17 assists. That was his last game as a King. He had 17 assists, and they were like, all right, we've seen enough. De'Aaron Fox, build around him. Dude, for what? They're going to be a play-in team? Is that what they want to do? That's how impoverished they are, looking for just one little playoff game. that they're willing to trade the next. Not only that, but Sabonis is on a contract for 2.5 years, and they could have kept Halliburton for 7 seasons.
Wow.
7 seasons. And they're going to go out and get Sabonis, who Lord knows is not going to resign because nobody willingly resigns. No, and then I look through the details. Not only did they trade Halliburton, but they threw in Buddy Hield. They've been holding on to Buddy Hield to trade him for this.
Uh-huh.
This was the deal that they wanted to move him for. I couldn't believe it. I think this might have been the worst trade I have ever seen. Since, you know what it is? The worst trade since the time that the Nets traded for like KG, Paul Pierce, and that.
Yeah, when they were all 40.
Yeah.
But look, you see that, and you're like, why couldn't we slip in here and give him something? I mean, Sabonis, Tobias, they both kind of have an is at the end. No, I'm just kidding. Sabonis is better and for what they're doing. But the Kings are a rebuilding team that got rid of one of their best rebuilding pieces. It doesn't make sense.
21.
It doesn't make sense at all. And if the whole another thing is, if you were so, like they were saying, Daryl Morey was asking for Halliburton and De'Aaron Fox. If you were so against that, if you were so like, no, we're not giving you both of those guys for Ben Simmons, you were better off giving up both of those guys for Ben Simmons and trying to rebuild your franchise that way than trading for Domantas Sabonis. I mean, I love the guy, but that's not taking you anywhere. It makes no sense. You gave up a future piece to do absolutely nothing. I don't even think they're making a play-in tournament. So,
bro, they literally made a trade so they could become the Pacers. Like their ceiling is now the Pacers. Oh, congratulations. You're the 8 seed every year.
That is, wow, the more I think about that, that is an unbelievable just head scratcher, man.
Like head scratcher. Woj tweeted after the deal was done, was like, the whole NBA is absolutely shook after the Kings traded Halliburton. That's how bad it is that Woj is like low-key saying, yo, the Kings screwed up, dude. Screwed up. Worst trade I've ever seen.
Man. Read some comments here. What you guys got in the chat, man? Or call the show if you want to call the show. The number's right there. You guys are sleeping on us today, man. 342 in the chat. Haven't got a call yet. What's up? Well, you guys asleep? You guys got this on your TV? You're laying on the couch asleep? You fell asleep in the fourth quarter, third quarter when we had the bench line up in there?
Woke up and thought we won.
Seth is getting traded and he knows it. That's somebody said that on Twitter. When L-Rob, come on, bro, you're on timeout for that, bro. Jesus. Somebody said that when Seth was 0 for 5, and he took him out of the game for a large, I think like the entire third quarter into the fourth quarter. I don't think I saw Seth Curry at all in the game. And I thought, like, wait, did they just sit down Seth? And then people were like, oh, he's getting traded and he knows it. He was out there jogging around, not trying and stuff. So I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
No, he's just, bro, he's in his head. He's cold. He's a shooter. Shooters are crazy. They're like They're like relief pitchers in the MLB. They're psychos.
Yeah, but let's just be honest. Like, if we're gonna believe all this Harden hype, right? They're talking about possibly Curry being a part of it, right? So you regardless if he believes it or heard it or something, shooters, I agree, they get cold. But now this is back-to-back games close. The Memphis Grizzlies game was what, like 5 days away? It hasn't been like once out in the blue, and cold is cold. 0 for 8, 0 for 9, that's ice.
But he did hit the biggest one. I agree, but he did hit the biggest one.
He did hit a big one.
He did.
But if he hit 2 or 3 other ones, we might be,
Of course, but if Maxey doesn't go 5 for 16, we win that game too. We love Tyrese so much that we never give him any crap. And I'm not chat before you cut for my head. I'm not giving him any crap, but just saying we pick and choose with what we're doing.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't think there was enough Tyrese Maxey in the beginning of the game. Once again, I think we start out the game like heavy and Tobias Harris pick and rolls and Seth Curry pick and rolls, and Toby was killing it. Yeah, you know what? We got to give Tobias Harris his props in this game, man. And the past couple of games, 30 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 13 for 18, 2 for 4 from 3. Both of his 3-point attempts, I thought were like quick triggers and confident releases, like not this ISO stand around or hesitate and pump fake or whatever else. So I thought he looked like, I think he's getting back to the better version of himself, which is playing faster, playing harder, playing more physical, and just letting it fly. Like, don't hesitate. You're not an ISO player. Don't pump fake and take 16 dribbles. Shoot it. and 2 of the threes that he put up were like that. He hit a huge one in the fourth quarter.
Big.
Yeah, it was huge, and I thought he went to the rim hard like a couple times, and I thought that last game too, taking contact and going a straight line to the rim, not fading away from contact, doing his little hook shot layup or whatever. So I'm happy with Tobias lately, and if maybe he's up in his trade value a little bit.
He's been better since January. I mean, it might have been his New Year resolution. I mean, he felt the pressure. Look, 2020, not last year, the first year under Doc, he's never going to live up to the contract. We all know that. But his first year with Doc was why we were like, can't really get rid of the contract, but maybe it could work, right? If other players stepped up. And now we came into this year like, okay, we need to get rid of 2-5. Bang. Now we put, let's see what Tyrese Maxey offers us. Let's see Seth Curry's role on this team. Let's see if Tobias can stay that third and we get a legit second. Never got the legit second. Asked a little bit too much of Tobias early, and he got in his head. But if this team is done right by 4:00 on Thursday, you'll see Tobias get even better looks with a Harden on the court. And then he doesn't have to think. And Harden was an assist leader too. People forget that he's not just a dominant scorer, right? And that's a great guy for Maxey to even look up to, in the sense of Maxey's trying to find the line of how do I facilitate and how do I get mine. And the beer's like, the Tuesday, what do you want? He just goes with the flow of the game. And that's what I used to say about 2-5 way back when, right? I would okay a 10-point game if we're winning and it's going good, because all I wanted from a point guard is to pick your spots. See a game when Tobias is off. See a game when Embiid is off. And then realize my guys are off. I don't got to score, but I can, because I'm bigger, faster, stronger. And you should see them games. And that's what I always co-sign for. I want him to score in the flow of a season, in the flow of a stretch of games, not necessarily do it consistently, just know when to do it. And I think, Harden going with the Nets showed I can sit back and get 15 points and 18 assists, or I can drop you a 45 piece. What you need from me?
You also made a fantastic point. There is something very valuable in bringing in one of the best guards in the NBA in the past 20 years and let him just play basketball in front of Tyrese Maxey. Let Tyrese learn. So James Harden's not fast. He's never been fast. Maybe OKC days, but he's a change of pace player like Chris Paul. You see the backup point guards on Phoenix. Campaign, he was almost out of the league. Comes to Phoenix, he's a stud. Why? Because his mentor Chris Paul. Same thing with Elfrid Payton. Dude, he was good tonight because Chris Paul. If we bring in a Harden and on court Maxey learns the game of basketball from him, not only will Maxey be the fastest guy on the court, but he will also be able to change pace. He'll be able to just learn more about the game of basketball and how to dominate as a guard, and he will become so much better of a player because he's watching James Harden, one of the best in the NBA, to do it every single night on your team.
Absolutely.
That's a huge thing in keeping him.
And people call, people that don't really watch it. That's the thing. Like everybody has an opinion now. Everybody has a Facebook opinion, a Twitter opinion, whatever. Everybody can call a radio station. Anybody can call this show or another YouTube show or whatever else. And there's so many people that you can tell don't watch James Harden play basketball. They just, he's done. He's washed up. He's fat, because they saw one fat picture of him in Houston when he gained like 20 pounds on purpose because he didn't want to be there anymore. But or they call him a ball hog. That's the thing. Like, he's a ball hog, and Embiid needs the ball. What are we going to do with the guy that hogs the ball the whole game? I'm like, what? He adapted himself like an armadillo or like a whatever else. What's the animal that changes colors with whatever?
No. Stick with armadillo.
Not an armadillo.
Stick with it.
When he went to Brooklyn, he adapted himself perfectly. Like, he's like, I'll be this guy. I'll give you 15, 15, and 15. And he's second in the NBA in assists per game right now. Like,
he's a great rebounder. He's a great rebounder too.
Yeah.
And he's not a great on-ball defender, but he gets steals because he's just in lanes, and he knows the game. But yeah, Harden still got it.
Iguana.
Gecko, bro. Chameleon. It's a chameleon.
Chameleon.
Yeah, the
we
chat
said like
saying
6
it,
animals before we got
my
it.
bad, Mike. Go ahead.
Nah, the armadillos, though. I mean,
They're tough. They're tough, dude. That's actually
tough.
Ben Simmons. He's in his shell right now. If anything, Ben Simmons is an armadillo.
Oh man. But yeah. Well, look, I kind of lost my thought process anyways. But yeah, sticking on that Maxey thing. One thing about Maxey, right? And again, I love the kid and he has the potential. Is the thing is, as I said about Harden learning, you talked about the change of pace. It is a necessity for Maxey to take his game to the next level because sometimes he's just go gadget, right? He's trying to run a break every time. He's like, oh, yo, we're not doing it this play. Or it's all about just getting the ball and going, and he's not really, seeing everything. And that's where he can learn that. But at the end of the day, the stagger minutes are big for him because of his ability to beat everybody off that first step. He's not a crossover guy. He's just my first step is faster. And he got that long Tony Parker like layup where he doesn't got to go over you. He goes under you on the side of you, but he's fearless when you see guys his size don't normally go at the Steven Adams and the DeAndre Aytons. He goes right at the bigger defender, and he's just slick with it. So I love it.
He goes right at him. He's so good at finishing over centers. It's crazy.
There's never a shot too tough for Tyrese to make. That's why he's going to just be good forever because that's a mentality thing. That's a mentality thing, bro. He doesn't
It really is. Yep.
There's not a shot on the court that he's not confident in making. And now it's starting to stretch out a little bit. You see that sidestep three starting to put together. His bag's starting to come together a little bit right now. And, bro, he's 21. 21,
man. Sean Quigg, what's up, man? So Pop Rivers is the top 15 of all time blown leads with Garnett, Allen, Pierce, Rondo, Paul, Griffin, Kawhi, Paul George, Rondo again, and Joel.
Wow.
Yeah, he's had the luxury of having some of the best players of all time on his rosters and hasn't really delivered except one time. And he thinks he thinks he invented Rajon Rondo too. He thinks he taught Rajon Rondo how to play point guard. And that dude was just amazing from the jump. It had nothing to do with Doc Rivers. I don't know why he's that overrated. Why would he be on that list for top 15 of all time?
Championship. One.
I guess if you've been around forever and you have one ring, you're a legend. So you're one of the greatest, I guess. I don't know. You got to have 3 or 4, right? If you're going to be.
I'm curious to see who's behind him, or who's right behind him. If it's an obvious, what? I didn't see the list. So I'm curious to look at it and see who's right in front of him and who's right behind him. If it's not somebody obvious.
I don't think it was rated. I think it was just 15.
Oh, so they stopped at 15. He was the last one.
No. It wasn't 1 through 15. It was just 15 dudes.
Oh.
But where I saw him in the list, there were 2 or 3 dudes behind him. Also, Kleba. I know we're boys, Kleba, but come on now. What is this comment?
What if Morey trades 25 for? Oh man!
The Lakers are so screwed for this offseason or this deadline. They have nothing they can do.
They got to pay Russell Westbrook $47 million for the next 3 years.
Yeah, it's rough.
That's a lot.
And where does this come from? Where does this come from? I've heard people say this before. Westbrook's just in the wrong system and blah, 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 blah. Where does this come from? Why in the world would you want to add a player that dude, he's going to shatter a backboard as hard as he throws bricks at it. This guy's chucking cinder blocks. He is so bad right now, and he's never been a good shooter. He lived on his athleticism 100%. He was faster, could jump higher than everybody. He got to the hole, dunked on people, triple doubles, great vision, ball handling, speed down the court. As soon as he lost a step, he's done. He has terrible IQ. He could never shoot. Why in the world would you want to put that on the floor with Joel Embiid?
We would never. Don't even put this. We would never. Don't even. Kleba's clearly, I know Kleba. He's clearly just doing this for, shits and gigs.
Trolling. He's
trolling. Don't even. There's no shot. The Lakers, I've read a lot about them the past couple of days because I find their organization so interesting right now. They're going to make minimal moves, when it comes, because they don't have finance. They put out Taylor Horton Tucker is apparently on the block, and other teams are saying it's a bad contract and he's not worth the money. And that's their fault. They signed a guy who's shooting 23% from three, $15 million. There's nothing they can do. Yeah,
there's the top 15 list. Red Auerbach, Larry Brown, Chuck Daly, Red Halsman, Phil Jackson, Casey Jones, Steve Kerr, Don Nelson, Greg Popovich, Jack Ramsey, Pat Riley, Doc Rivers, Jerry Sloan, Eric Spoelstra, and Lenny Wilkins.
Nick Nurse. Put Nick Nurse in that list. Crazy. Nick
Yeah,
Nurse.
he has a ring. What has
50
Doc Rivers
times
done
the
that?
coach. And
What
he's
has
also
Doc Rivers
40
done
years
that?
younger. Dude's 40 years younger. Put that man in there and take Doc it.
Yeah, what is Doc done that Nick Nurse hasn't done? Yeah,
That's wild.
Is Eric Spoelstra in there? Yeah, Eric Spoelstra's in there.
They even have a picture of Doc on that shit. Come on.
They could have chose
That man got a picture.
They could have.
Well, no, I think they got the
people.
Well, they got the pictures of the people that are still coaching. I think that's what they're trying to say. Like, because the other ones are supposedly the best. Like, and shout out to Larry Brown. You know what I mean? Gotta give him love. But they're not still coaching. But real talk, I'll take all three of the ones on the picture over it.
Yeah, for sure.
All three.
This team with Spo would be nasty. Eric Spoelstra is disgusting.
I like it.
Oh man,
he got Pat Riley over him though too, so that definitely helps Spoelstra.
Yeah, that's a culture thing. That's why you see dudes like Omar Yurtseven come in out of nowhere and ball because it's a culture thing.
Dude, another career high guy against the Sixers.
Yeah.
That was funny. I never heard the guy's name before that game. I was like, who? What? He's like what? Wow.
Yeah,
he's actually he's got some skill though, and he's 7 feet tall.
Nice. He's good. He's a good ball player. He averaged 15 and 10 with Bam out. That was a long span too.
Nick Nurse would have this team in the 1 seed easily. So what is it about ownership that the Toronto Raptors fired? What was his name? He won Coach of the Year and got fired.
Dwayne Casey.
He went to the Pistons.
Dwayne Casey.
Yeah. You have, for some reason, their ownership has a level of awareness when it comes to the sport of basketball that a lot of owners don't have, and definitely the Philadelphia 76ers owners don't have. They
also have Masai. Their GM's really, really good.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Because then that's when they made the DeRozan for Kawhi deal. And they got shit for that, if you remember. Both teams did. Because Kawhi, you didn't know what. Kawhi was doing the Ben Simmons thing. He wasn't playing. And then obviously Nick Nurse in his first year.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. Like that's like James Harden and Joel Embiid. Listen, you put Kyle Lowry, Kawhi Leonard, Marc Gasol, Pascal Siakam,
Serge.
You're gonna win.
That whole team, man. And then Fred VanVleet on the bench. That's one of the deepest teams I've ever seen.
Oh, VanVleet coming off the bench, man. Oh, he was amazing.
That's Pascal's breakout year too.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like, we need to get a guy that we just was on the bench for some reason, and then we put him in the game, and we realize he can never get out the. He's not ever going back to the bench. Why can't that happen to us?
We kind of we're like, oh, Trey Burke's really good, and then we were like, nah, let's just cut him.
No, we played Howard Neto.
We never have one of those guys because we always have a coach that doesn't want one of those guys. We always have a coach that does not want one of those guys. Seriously, if it wasn't for like injuries last year and Ben folding, like Tyrese Maxey wouldn't have got the opportunities he got in the playoffs last year. And if it wasn't for Ben refusing to come back and play, Tyrese Maxey wouldn't have the opportunities he has now because Doc Rivers would have never played him. I just saw the stats of Game 5. He had 1 minute in Game 5 last year. He played 1 minute in that game.
In Game 7, Tyrese Maxey had 1 minute. Bro, we won Game 6 because Ben Simmons was in foul trouble and Tyrese went off.
Tyrese saved Game 6, and he went with Shake Milton again in Game 7. And in crunch time, this is the best part, and I'll never forget it. In crunch time, the point guard that he put on the floor to facilitate the offense was George Hill. A guy that didn't have a role on this team the whole second half of the season. He randomly decided to put George Hill on the floor in Game 7. It was unbelievable. I would have fired the guy as soon as that game was over.
Daryl Morey walks on the court, just takes him by his ear, takes him to the tunnel, and just Sam Cassell coaches the rest of the game.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, that's rough. He did the same. He did with Shake, too, in one of the games as well, where he would just like, Shake didn't get a minute, and then he just, in the fourth quarter, playing crunch time minutes. And it's crazy. You're right. Let's just say Shake Milton was healthy all season, and 2-5 was like, you know what? Say 2-5 somehow came back and played. There was like the attitude problem and all that, right? Maxey would be getting very little minutes because they paid. Somehow they be fitting Furkan in there somewhere. Shake would be the first guy off the bench, and 2-5 will be 2-5, just in the dunker spot, just like what's up. And Maxey would literally be getting on average teen minutes, it would have stunned his growth. We wouldn't knew this, knew that. And that's why things like that happen. We think Maxey's movable and it comes back to bite us, but thank God we know he's not.
Hypothetically, this is never going to happen, but hypothetically, what do you think Doc would do if Ben came back? Do you think Tyrese goes to the bench? Or do you think he actually tries to redo something and put Ben at like the 4? Or Ben comes off the bench? What do you think Doc would do? Because deep down, I'm like, that moron would just put Ben at the 1, even though he's not a point guard.
He better not.
Yeah, he would. He would put Maxey back on the bench. Yeah,
That's the thing, dude. The man does not learn his lessons.
I still don't think he's a big fan of Tyrese Maxey. I still think he tries to get him to give the ball to Tobias and Seth more than he should.
Yeah. I also, I mean, Tyrese had a better job tonight, at least putting up shots. A lot of them were at the end of a shot clock, and he was like Steph Curry range. But
yeah, he was a lot more aggressive in this game than last game for sure. Well, listen, guys, I'm tired. The Sixers lost to the Suns. I'm not too mad about it. I thought we fought hard. We shot ourselves in the foot 3 or 4 times at the end of the game. The Suns are a deeper team, a more athletic team. Way more talent. Like, let's not sugarcoat it. Way more talent. Devin Booker, Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton. Embiid did what he could. Had a bad turnover at the end. Took a 40-foot fadeaway 3 for no reason. I don't know why he did that, but it is what it is. You guys got any closing thoughts on this game? Or any trade rumors or trade things that happened today or anything?
I'll see you guys at 2 a.m. when Harden's a Sixer.
Hey, man, I mean, it's now or never. Like we said, we go out this the same, or we get like a guard that is just gonna. First of all, you get a backup guard. Doc's not gonna. He's gonna find a way to just say, "Oh yeah, this is the guard we need," and then he's gonna fall at the rotation anyways. More, he's gonna be like, I don't know why I got him for you. So, I mean, the team is fun because of Joel Embiid, and we're going to make the playoffs. You might be able to do something, but Harden's there. Do what you got to do. Too many things it can't just fall apart. I mean, you got Harden with the agent talk, then you got Harden not playing games. You got Harden talking about this. Now you got the Sixers doing this. It's just adding up, and it's gonna be a big letdown if nothing happens because of the last, 24 hours and the next 48 hours.
Yeah, it would be a big letdown. You're right.
Let's also just say that if everything does not go our way, even the offseason, and Harden's in Miami or re-signing for that player option, Morey is going to have his head on a stick in the city of Philadelphia. So he knows that it's crunch time right now. It's pressure.
Yeah, Doc Rivers came right out and said, they were talking about his lineup at the end of the third quarter, and I say the same thing a lot. As much as I scratch my head sometimes, I'm like, well, there's nobody else. I mean, I would play Maxey 45 minutes. I just would, because there's nobody else there. You can't leave Furkan Korkmaz out there for 8 minutes in the third and the fourth. And he said, we have no choice. We have to get another guard. We need a point guard. Doc Rivers said that.
Dennis Schroeder? Saw rumors of that. Maybe
people are talking about Dennis Schroeder. Listen, if you don't pull off a major deal for James Harden with the Ben Simmons thing, and you can get Dennis Schroeder for cheap or something like that, I'll take him. I mean, he's better than what you got,
which is
better than every player on the bench.
Yeah,
yeah. I agree. All right, boys, thanks for doing it with me. Thanks for the chat. Thanks for coming through the chat. I'm tired. My words aren't even working right. Hopefully something happens at the trade deadline. Yeah, I'm not too mad about this game, man.
No.
Best team in the league. It is what it is.
Peace.